So here's where the issue comes at the dog park.
Good morning, my fur friends and their humans. So today I'm bringing you a little story time while I am doing my makeup, not this look. If you did miss the backstory, please go watch the video I posted before this one so you will understand how I came to working with these dogs. Now, if you want to see how I believe a father completely inappropriately handled a situation, stay tuned.
I think that's all I'm actually going to do to my eyes. I'm really just doing a very, very light natural look today because I don't have much to do but therapy and editing. Hi, I go to therapy, mental health, thumbs up, get on it. It's the best thing ever. So I think I'm going to step off camera, do these eyebrows, and come back. So, before. And we're back. So,
When the dad releases the lovely children and the dog into the dog park, the issue starts. Here goes Shadow over to this kid. So I finally get everything broken up because the owner's nowhere to be found, and that's not shocking because that's how it usually happens.
I'm doing a little color correcting for those of you who have no clue what's going on here. And then I also suffer from acne because I get a lot of puppy kisses. I get a lot of puppy kisses. A lot.
At this point, I very windedly got eye level with this gentleman's child to let him know he is the problem. This is causing your dog to attempt to come check on you, which is triggering the response from Shadow. So I politely tell this little boy and his brother that they are not allowed to play with Shadow.
You are not allowed to play with the dog that I am responsible for because he is my responsibility and your dog keeps coming to check on you and it's triggering a fight.
So at this point, of littler dogs get there, come over to our group, and they don't get along with some of the other dogs. Mind you, Dakota, on most parts, is just off doing her own thing. She's a good girl. She really only jumps into fights when her brother does. So, at this point is where things got a lot more verbal. And I don't remember the exact steps of what happened because I was too busy with Shadow pulled over from the side of the group, calming him down, putting him in timeout. When you grab a hold of him, physically grab him, he reacts. Guaranteed. He reacts. I had to grab a hold of him. I know what to expect. People in our group know what to expect with him when this happens. It looks dramatic.
This is way lighter than I expected. Okay, so I think I grabbed the wrong one. Yeah, I definitely grabbed my fair one. Oops, I should have checked that.
But, so everybody in our group understands his reactions.
These are the same people that always go to the park together. Keep that in mind.
I have had to physically bring him over to the corner and sit him down. And the chocolate lab keeps running over to our group. So here comes the owner, and I yell at him to get his dog because he's not controlling his dog. I'm physically trying to control my dog, who is being triggered by his unneutered male that he has brought to the dog park, which is against the dog park regulations in the first place. So at this point, this man has got an attitude with me, and he wants to start yelling at me. Well, I'm not that girl, woman, whatever you want to say. I'm not gonna sit here and listen to you, a man that I don't know, yell at me when you're at a public park with your dog, and to bring your children to a dog park, one who has obviously special needs, and not pay attention to what they are doing.
I'm done. I'm tired of it. This dude's not controlling his animal. His children are the problem. I am away from, and when I say away, I'm not talking 6 feet. I'm talking, we are a minimum of 20 to 30 feet across the park from each other. Like, we are away from the group that their dog is playing with. The group, because mind you, this group of people did not come together until after this incident happened.
I have now talked to this gentleman's children, asked him to get control of his dog in a situation, and remove the dog that I am with from a situation to calm him down. This man starts coming over screaming and yelling at me about how I am rude and I have made his children cry, I believe. I don't even remember at this point. I just want him to get his dog so I can finish getting Shadow under control so Shadow can go back to playing. And this is where it gets heated. So this man starts walking across the dog park towards me. I've got Shadow down by a tree. I am asking him to get his dog. And his dog continuously is running over towards us and our group. I am getting extremely frustrated to the point where I turn around and I'm like, listen, you keep bringing your unneutered dog to the dog park and it's triggering reactions. Before I can even finish this phrase, this man wants to start screaming at me, statistics say and studies show. So I proceed to yell at this gentleman. We're not talking about studies and statistics. We're talking about laws, rules, and regulations of the dog park. Because we are at a place that has set rules and regulations by the city, possibly even the county, but I'm pretty sure it's the city.
We're talking rules and regulations. Like, these are set rules. Most dogs that aren't neutered aren't even allowed in playgroup. I do deal with not neutered dogs. I deal with a lot of dogs. I deal with behavioral issue dogs. You'll learn that.
So at this point, I am extremely frustrated, and he is screaming and yelling at me, and he was like, Shadow is the problem. And I said, no, sir, your kids are the problem. Because at this point, I'm frustrated. I'm mad. Like, I'm flaming, I'm fuming, I'm trying to keep it together. I'm at the park with my clients. I am at the park with people that I work with, besides Shadow and Dakota's mom. And I am getting really frustrated because this is a constant issue at the park. Constant. This guy just does not pay any attention to his children at all. So after he has proceeded to start screaming and yelling at me how I am nothing but and I am a terrible person, I'm okay with.
I'll be a terrible person. Do what you want, but I'm going to advocate for those 4 little furry creatures that can't open their mouth and speak up. What we're doing, or what I'm doing, is pointing out the fact that if you would watch your kids and keep your kids with you and your dog on the other side of the park, we wouldn't have these issues. It's that simple.
Your kids are the problem. They're the problem. It's not the fact that anyone is downplaying Shadow's responsibility in these scuffles. Here comes a lovely woman who I've never even seen at the dog park. And she wants to come walking up to me like, you made those kids cry by yelling at them. And I said I did not yell at them. I had a stirred conversation with them. And please don't get involved in something that you honestly have no clue about. I've never seen you before. Your dog is a puppy.
I pretty much tell her to move on. Because no, I'm not apologizing for making a kid cry. I didn't yell at him. I didn't scream at him. I had a nice talking to with him in a stern voice, letting him know that he is not allowed to come around the dog I have.
Sorry. I'm trying to save your kid from getting bit in a situation because your dog keeps coming to check on your kids. Your kid keeps coming to the dog that I keep telling them they're not allowed to. But so at this point, of course, me and the rest of the owners of Shadow and Dakota's group, who I have had the lovely experience over the last year getting to know, and I think they're a bunch of awesome people.
They want to proceed to scream at me from across the park to take Shadow home.
Well, that's not happening because Shadow's not causing the issue at this point. It was a couple of other dogs, and Shadow just wanted to go see what was going on, so I hollered at him and pulled him out of it just so it wouldn't escalate. Because
stop it from escalating. Stop it from escalating. You're the humans. You're the humans. Stop it. Yell at your dogs.
whatever. My group starts joking about it. Not a big deal. We look over. We see the little boy being humped by a dog. It's hilarious. 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 Because sadly, the child is not paid attention to at the dog park. He is special needs. He needs direction. And his dad is wandering off doing nothing but ignoring his children and his dog. So then, fast forward to us trying to leave for the evening. The entire group that I'm with is heading out at the same time. We are all up by the door of the dog park because there's double exit gates.
A holding pen is what we call it in playgroup for dogs to be held to calm down. I don't know if I want to use that highlighter. I don't know if I'm gonna like this today. Oh well. Yeah, I definitely am probably not gonna like this highlighter today. Oh well. Let's see what I can do with it.
And here comes the chocolate lab barreling to the gates. Barreling, running as fast as he can. So I instantly ditch everything in my hands but one leash, because at this point I am fuming frustrated. I take off full speed and react to the situation. Literally, only person reacting besides the people in my group. That's what you need to understand. Only the people in my group are reacting to any of this situation. So here I am with a full-grown husky and a chocolate lab getting into a scuffle up against the fence of the little dog area. And I'm so annoyed that I turn. I look at the owner who is moseying on over, like with no. When I say moseying, like this man is walking with his hands in his pockets, like nothing. So at this point I turned my head and said, if you would get your instead of watching the situation happen, this wouldn't be a problem.
Because I'm done. I'm annoyed. I'm livid. Like, the issues at the dog parks are never actually the dog. They're the owners. They're the owners not understanding dog behavior and dog play. It's the owners not reacting to the situations that they should be. Like, it's the owners. It's always the owners.
I am a person that doesn't think there's a bad dog, though. I do think that some dogs are not group social dogs, and I understand dog quirks, but there's no bad dog. There's a lot of bad owners. I get Shadow and Dakota leashed up, and I've realized that I don't have my keys. So at this point, I have called Dakota and Shadow's mom because it's 7 o'clock, she's off work, and we are still searching for my keys at the dog park. 30 minutes walking around looking for them. The chocolate lab is still there. I'm like, you know what? Let's just say forget it. And I'm gonna call and have my road service come unlock my car. I know losing my keys is always a possibility, so I do the most unsafe thing in the world, and I keep my spare set in the car. I know I shouldn't, I know it's not safe, but situations like this will happen. It'll arise. I can't do much to stop it when it does.
Finally, Bailey's mom finds my keys, like an hour into searching for them.
Or I tell Bailey's mom that she gets a night free when I watch Bailey with Dakota and Shadow at their house, and all of the other parents that are helping me get a free walk. Because, I mean, come on, they stayed there for an hour helping me search for my keys. So here we go. I send Dakota and Shadow off with their mom. And I go take care of Frank and his family, Frank and Luna and Seiko. If you want to see what happens with Frank and his family, please stay tuned. Next episode.